Hello, team players. If you're new to Pathfinder 2e, you may be unfamiliar with the multiple attack penalty. How it works is if you attack multiple times in your turn, you're going to take a increasing penalty to those attacks. Your first attack is at no penalty. However, your second attack is at a -5, -4 if you're using an agile weapon. And your third attack is at a whopping -10, -8 if you're using an agile weapon. That penalty on that third attack is so massive that it's almost never worth it to go for that third attack. So what can you do instead? A lot of things, actually. The first thing I recommend is prepare to aid. The aid reaction is such a great thing in Pathfinder, and not near enough people use it. It allows you to possibly add a bonus to something that your ally is trying to do. However, in order to use this reaction, you must spend one action on your turn preparing to help your ally. If you have nothing else to do for your third action, this is an excellent one, as it is always available to do. The next one I can recommend is skill actions. Some skill actions, mainly athletics ones, do count towards and increase your multiple attack penalty. However, many do not. Demoralize is a perfect example. It allows you to frighten a target. And frighten is one of the best debuffs in this entire game. And the best part is, anyone can do it as long as they're trained in intimidation. You do not have to be a spellcaster to give this condition to enemies. Another good one is if you're trained in diplomacy, you can take the Bon Mot skill feat, allowing you to lower an enemy's perception and will saves, which can definitely help out rogues, bards, and other spellcasters that use will save spells, which can include yourself. Another great option is raising a shield. In order to get an AC bonus from your shield, you have to raise it, which takes an action. However, I'm not just talking about actual shields here. Most spellcasters have access to the shield cantrip. This is a one-action spell that can be used to increase your armor class. It is limited, but is a great option for increasing a spellcaster's AC. There are also other options for marshals who don't want to use a shield. Twin parry, dueling parry, and raise half are great examples. True, those are only available to certain classes, but this can be great if you are those classes. Next is moving. Don't knock it. Moving can help a lot. Spellcasters, get out of melee range or get a better position to cast your spells. Marshals, get into that flanking position for an advantage for both you and an ally. Just moving is a big deal. Recall knowledge is another one that isn't used anywhere near enough. It can be very good, especially on certain classes. Every monster in Pathfinder 2e has strengths and weaknesses. Even if they don't have an actual weakness, such as a weakness to fire that trolls have, they will always have a lowest saving throw or low AC. This information will tell you what to use against them for the greatest effect. For example, whether to trip or grapple them as a marshal, or what spell to use against them if you're a spellcaster. You can gain this information with the Recall Knowledge action. When you use this action, the GM will roll a check for you. What he or she rolls will be determined by what information you're actually seeking. Want to know about a dragon? They're probably rolling Arcana. Undead? Probably Religion. If you have a lore skill that applies, which all characters have at least one lore skill from their background, you may be able to use that instead. If you're using that, you might get a lower DC on your Recall Knowledge check. There is also the Take Cover action. Some characters, especially ranged attackers, love to take cover. If you have cover, or near a feature that will allow you to use cover, or are prone, you can take this action. If you already have cover, this gives you greater cover, granting you a +4 to AC, reflex saves against area effects, and stealth checks to hide, sneak, or otherwise avoid detection. Otherwise, you gain standard cover, which is half the bonus. This lasts until you move, attack, become unconscious, or end it as a free action. There's also casting spells. There are spells out there that take 2 or even 3 actions to cast, and you can cast those after doing a regular attack, at least the 2-action ones. This is especially helpful for classes like Rangers with their Warden spells, or Magi with their regular spells. Spells that can affect the entire battlefield or summon creatures are generally the ones that take 3 actions to cast. But these can be extremely helpful. For example, summoning a creature puts another body on the battlefield and is something else the enemies have to worry about, even though most summons are weaker than the actual characters would be. Then we have sustaining those spells. That's right, the spells I just mentioned normally have to be sustained, meaning you must spend an action on your turn sustaining the effect for another round, such as keeping that undead you just summoned on the field. While this might seem like a waste of an action, it's certainly better than you wasting an attack. Because, at this moment, the summon gets 2 actions, meaning it can move and attack at full bonus, or attack twice, depending on where you put it. It might not hit, but it has a better chance than you do on a third attack. Point out is another one that people forget about. Some enemies will want to sneak up on the party. This is where this action comes in. If the target enemy is undetected to your allies but not undetected by you, you can use this action. This makes the enemy hidden to your allies and not undetected. But your allies must be able to hear and understand you. If they can't, they must make a perception check against the target's stealth DC. If they fail, they misunderstand you and think the target is in a different location. But if you're running into a lot of enemies that want to sneak up on the party, this is an excellent one. So make sure you check it out. And then there's feinting. This ability can be very good for rogues and some swashbucklers, but can also be good for any character that is good at deception. Make a deception check against your opponent's perception DC. On a critical success, your opponent becomes off guard to your attacks until the end of your next turn. On a success, this lasts until the end of your current turn. On a critical failure, you become off guard to their attacks until the end of your next turn. This does only help you, but it is still better than attacking with a -10 penalty. If you guys like this video, you may like the video on screen. And of course, be sure to check out the description below for other ways to support me as a creator. Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, teamwork is vital. It helps us solve problems.